Hi, I'm John Sparent, and we're standing outside of historic Lou's Tavern in Little Italy, Cleveland, Ohio. Lou was a first-generation American. His father and his mother immigrated from Italy. He worked on the railroads. He worked at Lakeview Cemetery. As he was here longer and longer, he became more prominent. He owned many properties in the neighborhood. I'm going to walk you through a brief history and showing of the bar. The bar as you see it now is how you would have seen it in the 20s, 30s. We keep everything basically the original in the building. For the early part of Prohibition, the bar was a grocery store. Because it was a grocery store, they were able to buy sugar in bulk volume and without being noticed, and convert it into alcohol. So that was one of the benefits of having a grocery store during Prohibition. It was very common at that time. There were no big grocery chains, so there would have been many grocery stores in this area. Sometime around 1928, it became a tavern and ceased to be a grocery store. In the beginning, it would have been a gathering place for immigrants, first-generation Italian Americans, blue-collar workers. You know, those years, there's not a lot of information about exactly what was going on, but you know, they were drinking alcohol during Prohibition. There was a fear that when the immigrants got here and they got established, that they would open up the taverns, and the taverns would become a meeting place, and you would start to see immigrants being elected into public office. So in order to stop that from happening, making alcohol inaccessible to the common man was the way to do it. So we're in the alley now of Lou's Tavern at 1931 Coltman Road in Little Italy. And as you can see, the alleyway is very narrow. It's just big enough to fit a Model T style truck, which was the popular truck during the day made by Ford. So the truck coming in here would have been totally secure. And as the truck made its way up the alley, the trucks would pull in here, and the garage is behind here, the carriage house. And there was shafts that would have dropped the alcohol down from the third floor and from the secret compartments down here to be loaded into the trucks. There's been false floors in that shaft that were used for storaging. There's rumors that that shaft actually went down into the subterranean and was actually on some sort of tracks that led under the streets to the cemetery, which is about a block away from here. And that in the cemetery there were false graves where the alcohol could be moved out of the neighborhood, and vice versa. Also, the driver of the trucks would have escape routes if they needed to get out in a hurry. There's bricks on the wall here where they could climb the wall and get over and escape capture. So now we're along the side of the building, and what I wanted to show you again was how the original house was Cape Cod style, almost barn. And as you can see, the addition on the back, again, is almost like something straight out of Sicily. So we have a real true Italian-American building here, so to speak. And if you follow up to the third floor there, you can still see remnants of the secret room where the still was kept for the manufacture of alcohol during Prohibition. Now, back in the 20s, what they would have done, because of the intense heat made by the still, it would have melted the snow off of the roof in the winter. So to combat that, what they would have done is they would have taken soap suds and they would have sprinkled it on the roof up there to give the impression that snow was still up there. That was one of the telltale signs that someone was manufacturing alcohol, was no snow on the roof. One of the main features you'll notice behind the bar is the old cash register. It's a 1903 NCR, and it's still functioning. As far as maintaining it, we try not to clean it too much. We like to keep it patinaed and looking old. It's kind of nostalgic to think that there's patina on here that goes back over 100 years. Another great feature of the bar is the copper mugs that they used to drink out of years ago. Would keep the draft beer nice and cold. Copper is a real good conductor. And the favorite beer of the day was Duke beer. Duke beer came back into production about 7 or 8 years ago, and the owner of the brewery, I messaged him, and we were actually the first establishment in Ohio to serve Duke beer in over 50 years. I see the future as very bright. The whole neighborhood is undergoing a renaissance, so to speak. Everything's being updated. It's a very sought-after place to be. You have some of the finest restaurants, establishments in the city here. We've gone from a city that was more or less immigrants and hard workers, and which still are hard workers, to a city that is pretty much America's story. I see the city at its height now, really. I think the city is, if you lived in Cleveland, there'd be no better time to live in Cleveland than there is now.